Hey folks, it's me, Frederik, from the FWX podcast. I want to talk to you about a movie I saw a while back, and I'm talking about this one, A Working Man, with this guy, Jason Statham, or Statham, or however you're supposed to say that out loud. Anyway, um, so A Working Man is a big old action movie set in America, in Chicago to be specific. And now, there's one thing I want to introduce to you that I found out for myself in this year and last year, and it just so happened that there was and is a lot of action work, movies, TV, and also games. But I want to talk to you mostly about TV and movies. And in this episode, specifically about A Working Man with Jason Statham. And I like to call this period thriller season because there is so much action thriller and other subgenres of thriller. And now, for this very movie, fits perfectly in that season to me. So, but I also have to mention that technically it's not really a season given the length of time that I think it has, because I'm talking about fall of 2024 up until, well, not soon from now, the early summer of 2025, or even potentially into the summer of 2025. Because in the summer we often get like the big blockbusters, blockbust, goddamn that word, block, the big blockbusters. There, finally. And those are chock full of action, of thrillers, and anything you think about that, including said subgenres like anything with spies or superheroes or things like crime and corruption, and we're in the middle of all of that to me. And it's because of movies like A Working Man, and also certain TV shows too, because as I found out, you have your simple, similar kind of shows on television, the police procedurals, which have a lot of that too, a lot of action, a lot of crime, a lot of corruption, dealings with police, and what people call woke issues, like police brutality and right. Am I aiming over that? Anyway, so a lot of different kind of issues on your TV procedurals, police procedurals, and the thing I've also found out about thriller season is that there is like a degradation to these kinds of things when it comes to, especially TV, because I said police procedurals, which kind of like play an episode a week. But then you also have those you find on streaming places now, whether it's Amazon or Apple or Netflix or Peacock, and all those different kind of places that there's like an elevation of work where you can find a bunch of stuff with people that think, you know what, I'll try something new too. Not just my usual kind of movie or television, but like a higher elevation of work. And for instance, one that I think of that is coming out now, a couple of episodes have already appeared, is The Last of Us, for instance. Or a show that I'm watching right now that also ties a little in to the previous episode that I just did, was on Mickey 17, which is a sci-fi, and I'm currently watching the new season of Andor, which is also sci-fi. So, by the way, I have to give you a bit of a disclaimer. I will be talking a lot about genres and the people that play in those big places. Like, some people like really get tied to their character. And for instance, to bring back a working man for a moment, Mr. Jason Statham is known for that kind of thing. He is the go-to action guy for movies. I'm not gonna put this far away, so to bring it back up. But I got my stuff right here to talk to you about. So, more of the disclaimer. With moments, I will give you specific things from the story of a working man, and that will mean that the screen will get a bit brighter, I will get a bit brighter, and so that you know that on occasion I will have to look things up. And I will also tell you that with moments I will give some very weird pauses, and I will flub words, and I will also swear. That is definitely gonna happen. If you, at this point, have seen the other episode that I just did on Mickey 17, you will know that. Okay. So, here we go with A Working Man. So, let's go over the story of A Working Man. So, first and foremost, Jason Statham is British and tends to go for that kind of roles where he doesn't have to change a lot. So in this movie, in A Working Man, he plays Levin Kate, who is a former Royal Marine, so someone who worked on the British Navy, who now lives in Chicago, where he is a construction foreman. And he's very close with the family that has really been looking out for him, the Garcia family. And they're... By the way, I have to say, there are some amazing other voices besides Jason Statham in this movie. For instance, the man that gives Levin his work, and that is Joe Garcia. And Joe Garcia is played by Michael Peña, who you will know from other roles like End of Watch and the Ant-Man movies, and other roles too. Yeah. And another known person, well, also bring up in the story, is Gunny Lafferty, who is an old friend of Levin, an American, who had like a joint kind of task force, the two of them. And Gunny is played by David Harbour, who you will know from the Stranger Things series, but also from the MCU, where he plays Alexei Shostakov, aka the Red Guardian. You also have... there's another known person in here. But I'll also give you the people who made this movie, the producers. So Jason Statham also has a producing role in this. And he worked with two people he knows very well. David Ayer, the director, who also wrote the movie. And it was also written by a close friend of Jason Statham, Sylvester Stallone. By the way, not a lot of people know that Sylvester Stallone, despite being just as big of an action star as Jason Statham is, also is an incredible writer, apparently. And I think not enough people know this. And that's basically all you should know about the producer side. So a lot of this is steeped with action, thrilling action. That's the name of the genre. And so, well, there's another part, I guess. There's a subgenre when it comes to action thrillers, and that is martial arts. And normally that is used more when it comes to, I'm gonna be honest, more in Asian works of pop culture. Uh, a good example would be Shang-Chi and the Ten Rings from Marvel, or anything that Bruce Lee and Jackie Chan have touched, or if you want a bit more go a bit more Western, the despite being animation also has amazing martial arts is the Kung Fu Panda series, the movie series, and there's a bunch more. One of my favorite movies of all time, Everything Everywhere All at Once, was also chock full of martial arts, and it's a brilliant movie. But I'm gonna talk about A Working Man now, of course. And so Jason plays Levin Kate, a former Royal Marine Commando, and he works in Chicago as a construction foreman for Joe Garcia. And in the meantime, he also struggles to be a father himself because he has a daughter, Mary. And after, and unfortunately, the issues that we have today tend to wind up in movies too. His wife, when they were younger, when they had their daughter, unfortunately committed suicide. And so he struggles with being a parent, being a father, and his daughter Mary is living with his father in law, Dr. Jordan Roth. And I think that was the other role I was looking for a moment ago. Where's the damn name? Richard Heap. My bad. I thought this was a very known name. Anyway, Mr. Jordan Heap for the credit he has in this movie, because he does appear in some good moments of the movie. Anyway, and by the way, this father-in-law is not that very fond of Levin. And okay, so further of the story. So the construction company, the people that own it, uh, Joe and Carla, they have a daughter who also helps in this business as the administration. And one night, Jenny is out with friends in a bar and just trying to have a good time with her friends. And she, it looks like an accident, but she gets kidnapped by the Russian mafia, by traffickers known as Viper and Artemis. And not too much later, the next day, Joe and Carla, Jenny's parents, report their daughter missing to the police. And the parents clearly know of Levin's past as a military person, as I don't know if a Royal Marine Commando is a kind of officer. Anyway, just because he has the kind of background to go looking for those kinds of people, they ask him to go look for them and potentially do something to them. And they give him a vast sum of money to do it. But he says that he wants to move on from that whole life and declines to do it. But he does go and reminisce with that old friend that I mentioned, Gunny, played by David Harbour. And Gunny sort of convinces him to do it. And so he takes matters into his own hands. Levin takes the matters into his own hands. He tracks Jenny to the bar that she was hanging out with her friends. And he meets the bartender there, a guy named Johnny. And he does what any... Well, I'll mention for a brief moment a new kind of genre that has emerged in the past couple of, I'm gonna say more than a few years, 10, maybe 15 years, the kind of angry parents, ex military, ex cop kind of genre, kind of revenge plots genre. It doesn't really have a name, but that is the kind of vibe that you can get from these things. Like Liam Neeson is very known for this kind of genre. Just like Jason, big action star, big actor, Liam Neeson. And so that's their kind of genre. Like the bittered older person who has a different perspective on life with like an old military or cop experience. And so that's what happens with Levin in that moment. And he traces Johnny back to his home and he interrogates him. And two friends, two thugs that Johnny know arrive there, and Levin has to kill them, unfortunately, and he does so in brutal fashion. He has a. By the way, something I haven't mentioned yet. Early on in the movie, there's a moment where one of the workers at the construction site company, Levin, one of the workers has an altercation with these same kind of people, with what seems to be either a gang of some kind, or maybe it is just a Russian mob. And he has a falling out. The worker has this falling out with this group, and Levin breaks it up using his skills from his military experience. And so he does the same there to these thugs, and he kills the two guys that come there. And that's the moment where he learns that they in fact do work for the Russian mafia, and it's many different names, like for instance Bratva. And so probably because this is based in Chicago, they're the local crime syndicate belonging to Bratva, to the Russian mafia. And what Levin does is discovered by one of the higher ups in the Russian mafia, a guy named Wolo Koliznik. I hope I said that name right. And he has this kind of there's a car that shows up like a van type of thing for a cleanup crew. And cleanup crew, not just like someone who does the mirrors or someone who does the cleaning inside of the floor. So, like a proper cleaning company where like blood gets removed and stuff like that, like bodies in bags and that kind of cleanup crew. And so, because Levin is tracking, he notices this. He's watching from not too far in his own car, which he is living out of, by the way, because he does not have a place of his own. And he traces them back. He traces Wolo back to his hideout. To his, hideout, like a fancy villa, basically, in Chicago. I'm guessing not in the city, because it's such a huge place, but outside of it. And he interrogates Wolo in this specific kind of way. He basically ties him up to a chair, and the chair is hung over the water in this private pool. And Levin comes to know about the activities of the Russian mafia in Chicago, and The enforcer for this group in Chicago is a guy named Simon Carceno. And because Levin kills Wolo, Simon becomes aware of what Levin is doing, and he sends his two sons, Danya and Vanko, to kill Levin. And Levin, despite being out of the game, out of the military too, still has some contacts within organizations, including the FBI. So he uses his contact there to infiltrate the organization of the local Chicago chapter of the Russian Mafia. And he gets the address of a what's the word? I wouldn't say like a tavern, or like what's the proper word? I wouldn't say bar or tavern, but more like well, I'll just say it like it is, a gang hideout from a I guess a bar. It's more than a bar, like a place where you go and dance and drink at the same time, that kind of place. And Levin goes there, and he gets in touch with the biker gang that is there, and their leader, Dutch, a tall, former military man himself. Dutch happens to be a black guy. Doesn't matter, except that he looks and sounds as strong as an ox. So he's very imposing. He's very threatening. And Levin has a falling with these guys, and he has to fight himself to prove himself. And he gets in a deal with these guys to trace their connection with the Bratva to any more high-profile people that he can get, to whoever that is holding Jenny. Yeah. But during this moment, those two guys, Danya and Vanko, they somehow manage to capture Levin. But unfortunately for them, they quickly learn that that is not easy, and he crashes the car that they are in. He crashes, it's a van, of course, because he needs a space to actually shoot those kinds of scenes. And there's an action scene in this van where he kills the two of them. The van goes in the water, in the river, but he manages to come out, only then to get captured by police. He thinks, okay, good, it's the police, they'll get involved now. Except that the police is somehow involved with this too. And at the same time, these two guys that Levin just killed, their father, learns about all of this too. And at the same time, he also learns of Levin himself, and he gets all Levin's information, including the relationships that Levin has, his father-in-law and his daughter. And so he sends people to tie Jordan up and set the house where Mary's being kept on fire. But this is found out quickly by the emergency services, and Levin manages to get Mary out of this home of his father-in-law, and then quickly after get back into the house and save his father-in-law too, which gives him a moment of clarity where the father-in-law says, yeah, just go after them. This is what you do. This is what you can do best. We'll talk after it has happened. Okay. Um. Oh yeah. So the contact that this biker gang had with the Bratva is a guy named Dimi, who is like a liaison type, and he's this kind of artful dodger kind of type, a bit too high on his own supply. Um, yeah, if I remember well, because it's been some time since I've seen the movie, but anyway, he is also delivering drugs, and is literally a bit too high in the moment, and so Levin catches Timmy. He interrogates him and gets him to go to the compound where Jenny is being held by the Bratva, by the Russian mafia, and he is, before he goes into this place, he finds the gear that he has. Yeah, I'm remembering it now. Um, so before, when he met Gunny, he went back to Gunny for a moment to let Mary stay with Gunny and his wife. And Gunny gives Levin all the necessary weapons that he wants. But Levin has like a specific kind of style of fighting, and he uses like a single shot kind of weapon. Um, it's a specific gun that is used in the armies. Anyway, is something between. No, doesn't matter. Um, so Levin gears up. He attacks the compound. There's a lot of action in that moment, all throughout, all up to the end. And the biker gang also shows up because they want in. Well, they were called in. The person in the high profile person from the mafia is in the building, and here's that first shot that Levin makes, killing one of his men, and he calls over the biker gang to come and help, and well, obviously kill Levin, but that goes all haywire, goes completely wrong for them, and they have to pay the piper basically. And at a certain point there, the building also catches fire and really lights up the scenes well for the action to be seen very well. And ultimately, Levin finds Jenny and he kills. Well, Jenny was about to be trafficked, and he kills the client that she was supposed to entertain. Entertain. And Jenny has this moment of a little revenge of herself because she's been held by Viper and Artemis, and she gets to kill Artemis by a bit. I think it was a little bit of a reference to the way the Black Widow in Marvel takes out guys by literally like foots, like, because she's hung onto. Let me paint the scene for you a moment. So, Levin is assaulting the compound. He's killing everyone in his way, and Jenny is being held up literally. She's chained up, and these three are bickering. Viper, Artemis, and the client are bickering over the money and the whole fight, and they're using a lot of vulgarity, obviously. And Jenny gets this peak moment where she gets to kill Artemis by strangling her with her legs, the way that you see Black Widow do in Marvel. And then this high profile guy, Simon. I'm forgetting a part. So, well, Jenny's getting revenge on Artemis. Levin bursts through the doors, kills the two guys, kills the two guys. They meet again. He gets her loose from the chains, and they get out and they ride away. And at that same time, the high profile guy, Simon from the Bratva, comes around and he notices that the reinforcements that he had with him, which were a couple of highly. He had a couple of guys with him with a lot of almost artillery kind of weaponry, like heavy machine guns. And so those guys also got killed while Levin was bursting through doors and setting fires and killing all these Bratva guys and the biker gang that was there. And Simon sees Levin and Jenny riding off, and he calls up his boss, Simon does, to ask if they can have the whole organization go after them. But the boss says that's bad for business. Plus, this guy is super dangerous. So, best not to do this. And then we get a nice, happy ending with Jenny being reunited with her family. And they're eternally grateful for Levin for doing what he can. And Levin then gets to return home to his daughter and his friend Gunny and his wife, who have been taking care of Mary. So that's what A Working Man is about. I gave you the whole layout of that. And so this wasn't a chock full of action movie, pure like the Transporter in the days and the work that Jason Statham has done for the Fast and the Furious 2. I really enjoyed this movie. It is your typical kind of stuff for Jason Statham. And that's what I said when in the beginning of this video, to tell you that he really is that kind of guy who likes to do this kind of work. And on an occasion, he does give it a little twirl, a little twist. There's another movie of his from last year, The Beekeeper. Something similar is happening with kind of other twists. I saw in the trailer that in a moment he kind of has to do a different accent for just a moment, a more American accent. And I still have to watch that movie. I want to, definitely. And okay, I've talked a lot now so far. And so that movie perfectly is part of what I call trailer season, and that will keep going until a while now too. We'll see when that will end, or hell, maybe it will not end. Maybe it will go up until the fall. Maybe I should give this concept a better name. Maybe season is not enough when it stretches autumn, winter, spring, and summer. But it was very obvious to me that there's a lot of action, spies, police, and there's a lot of content like that the last couple of months. And so I definitely want to give you more of this concept. Maybe I'll update the name even too. So, at this point, thank you very much for listening to this episode of the FWX podcast. I hope that you will check out more when it comes out. So far, I've been Frederik. Thank you for listening. Also, like and subscribe. And ring the bell if you want more of this kind of content from me. Thank you so much for listening. Until the next time.